Hey there, I'm Randy Zimnock, and in this episode, we're going to talk about an interest rate buy-down strategy versus a price reduction when you're selling your property. So this strategy of an interest buy-down is actually a win-win for both you, the seller, and you, the buyer, if you're buying a house, right? So how does this really work, right? This is going to get, deep on numbers again, so just take your time. You might have to re-listen to this episode, maybe once or twice, but I'm telling you, it will be worth every minute, right? Every minute. So let me get into the strategy. So if you're selling a property today, right, and I'm going to use an example again for easy math of $500,000. If I'm putting a property on the market at $500,000 and a buyer comes to me and says, hey, I want to buy this house, but I'm going to want a 5% price reduction, so I'm going to offer you $475,000, right? Because 5% of $500,000 is $25,000. You got that right? So we're at $475,000. So now I have an offer of $475,000 from a buyer. Well, what we've been doing for our clients is, okay, how about my client, my seller, offers you a 3% interest rate buy down instead of the 5% price reduction. So we would counter back at $500,000. But we would offer 3% seller credit that will go to the buyer. Specifically though, this is the point that's important, specifically to buy down the interest rate, right? Because in today's market right now, interest rates are kind of, trending upwards, right? So how do we create a win-win for the seller and the buyer? Well, the buyer would love to get a lower interest rate. So if we could prove to the buyer that by us applying 3% of the $500,000, which is $15,000, and we use that money to buy down their interest rate, which a lender will allow you to do, that will give them about roughly a 0.875, okay? Remember, 0.875, not 1%, but 0.875 roughly, reduction in interest rate. Does that make sense? I hope so. So let that sink in. So we almost lowered the interest rate by almost a 1%. That's huge. What does that really mean for the buyer? That means in the $500,000 example, roughly their mortgage payment will decrease by $100 per month. So that's your win right there. That's one win that you're going to be presenting to your buyer if you're selling the property, or to the buyer's agent, right? But here's the more exciting news, that over 30 years, right, that interest rate reduction strategy will save the buyer $56,000 over 30 years. Let that sink in. Do you think you can use that to your advantage if you're a seller to point that out when you counter back on an offer instead of just agreeing to $475,000? Why not counter at $500,000, offer them a 3% interest rate buy down, show them how that saves them money monthly and over the 30 years. And I'm telling you, it works. Buyers get excited because everyone makes their decisions, well, not everyone, but most people make their decisions based on their monthly budget and savings. They look at over the 30 years and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to save $56,000. Would I rather have $56,000, $100 less per month payment, or would I want to reduce my purchase price to $475,000 and save $25,000 right now? Does that make sense? And that's how you create a win-win. Analyzing a property before you buy it is obviously very important. However, what I find that most people just do it wrong. And I know that alone, one mistake could cost you tens and thousands of dollars. It could literally cost you your business. And I don't want that to happen to you. So I created a step-by-step property analysis guide sheet to walk you through exactly what to look for to make sure your deal that you're looking at is worth buying. To get the property analysis guide sheet, just go to randyzimnock.com.